Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Color Me Badland with part 2 of beautiful performing fragrances that are in my collection. There are so many. I had to pop on and at least give you a part 2. I kept looking around and I go, the fragrance I share with you guys is just not enough. I've got so many that perform beautifully. Most of them are in the category of like springtime and summertime fragrances, but they work so beautifully for your girl. So if you're interested in finding out what fragrances I'm coming on to share with you guys today, please continue to watch. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's get off into this. One of the fragrances I want to share is so beautiful, and again, this would be deemed more like a summertime and a springtime fragrance, but it performs beautifully in the colder weather. Also today we are going to be sharing 3 etiquette tips on how to wear your fragrances and what not to do when it comes to fragrances. So before we get into sharing our first fragrance, tip number 1, and I wrote these down so I wouldn't forget because I have so many of them, okay you guys? So whenever you're wearing fragrances, you want to make sure that you're using proper etiquette, right? And what we mean by proper etiquette is that just because your fragrance smells good to you doesn't mean that it smells good to everyone else. And when you're applying your fragrances, you always want to make sure that you're doing them in a private setting, like your home or maybe your vehicle if you're riding by yourself. And like restaurants, so I've seen people apply fragrances at dinner tables, and you name it, it's ridiculous. And so I wanted to come on and share just a couple of etiquette tips in reference to how to and when to apply your fragrances, because some people just don't have that type of information readily available to them. Either they've never been taught that information or they just refuse to adhere to the etiquette of how to wear and apply and when and where to apply fragrances. So we're going to share 3 today. The first one that I wrote down is never spray your fragrance at a dinner table. You may say, Color Me, who doesn't know not to do that? You would be surprised. Now, I do agree with you that there are times when you may be with someone who has a little bit of flatulence. It may even be yourself. And so I get that you keep spray in your purse or your bag, and you are always ready to anything that doesn't smell like lilies in a valley. I get it. I'm the same way when it comes to that, especially for myself, okay? But you never want to spray your perfume or your fragrance or fragrance mist or an air freshener at a dinner table. If you're out to eat, if you're at home, if you're at someone else's home, that is extremely rude. I'll tell you why. First of all, normally at a dinner table, there's food and drinks involved, right? And so no matter how good you think your fragrance smells, nobody wants their food to absorb the alcohol content or the oil content of whatever fragrance you are wearing. That is totally rude, right? Another thing is that you may have people sitting at your table that may be allergic to whatever fragrance you're using. It doesn't necessarily mean that your fragrance smells bad, but it could mean that it's off-putting, meaning that it may set off someone's allergies. It may make someone sick. Some fragrances have notes in them that will cause allergic reactions in people, that will cause them to be hospitalized. People who have nut allergies can't stand the smell of fragrances that have notes of almond and peanut and sunflower seeds and things of that nature. So you really have to be careful when it comes to spraying your fragrances at a dinner table, at a dinner party, at a wedding reception, at church, you name it. Dinner table, spraying your personal fragrances is totally bad etiquette. All right, so let's get into it. Again, I want to welcome you all back to my channel. If I didn't already do that, I am your girl Color Me Bad Lynn. We'll get into the logistics of our channel. If you haven't caught the vibe just yet, click on some other videos and have yourself a good old-fashioned time. The first fragrance that I want to share with you guys today, and I think I pulled her out. Yes, I did. This fragrance is so beautiful, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and spill the beans on where I heard about this fragrance from. I heard about this fragrance from Jeremy Fragrance. Okay, I know you guys probably know well who he is, and this is where I learned about this fragrance. I learned about a lot of fragrances from him. Actually, I really did. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't have any problem with giving people their props, but I learned about this fragrance from Jeremy Fragrance. This is called Tea Rose. You guys, this fragrance is so gorgeous. If you love the scent of a sweet, sexy rose, this is an extremely affordable fragrance. I'll bring the packaging in a little bit closer for you. This is going on bottle number 2 for me. This is my second bottle of this, and this has only been in my collection for probably less than about a year and a half, 2 years. But it's so affordable. It's unbelievable. When you do the research on this, you're gonna be like, girl, what you say? High quality. You would never, whenever you wear this, whenever I wear this, I get so many compliments on this. It leaves a beautiful scent bubble, a beautiful scent trail. It lasts and lasts and lasts until you scrub down. This fragrance lasts on your skin. It is a beautiful rose fragrance. So let me share just a little bit about what's in the fragrance in case you are interested in adding this one to your collection. Again, this is Tea Rose. This comes from Perfumer's Workshop, and it is for women. Of course, anyone who wants to wear this one absolutely can. You know what I say, if you buy it, you wear it. This has rose. Of course, it's a floral fragrance. It is woody. It has a little bit of white floral and a little bit of citrus. They don't tell us everything that is in this gorgeous fragrance, but when I tell you guys, it's worth it. It's so beautiful. You can smell it from the bottle. I don't know what, who, when, and where. This is one of the most beautiful fragrances that I have in my collection. I hope to always keep this in my collection. I always tease and say, whenever I order this, I should get 2 bottles, but I try not to overdo it when I'm squeezing something like this into my budget. But this one is a keeper, total keeper. Tea Rose, Perfumer's Workshop. Get you some. All right. So again, we're gonna do 3 tips on fragrance etiquette today. I had like a whole list of things, but I think 3 is all we can bear for today. All right. So the next tip that I want to share with you guys, drum roll please. Yes, I do my own sound effects. All right. Number 2, never spray your fragrance in an office or a business setting. Okay. So the deal with that again is that just because your fragrance smells good to you doesn't mean that it smells good to everyone else around you. And even if you're wearing a fragrance that people around you may not particularly care for, when you spray your fragrances at home when you're getting dressed, which is normally when you're supposed to adorn yourself with those types of things, by the time you get where you're going, whether it's to work or to church or whatever the case may be, where it's an intimate setting, your fragrance has already died down enough where it won't offend anybody. I mean, it's only for you, right? Fragrances are personal. Depending on the quality of fragrance, is why you would have to, like, a lot of times reapply your fragrances if you're wearing something a little bit inexpensive, or if you don't apply your fragrances and layer them properly, they're not going to last for you, so you have to keep reapplying them. There's not a really big deal about that because I have some really high-end fragrances that I've had to reapply before. But what I try to do, because I never want to offend anyone with my personal fragrance that's for me, is I try to apply those fragrances at home, in your vehicle, if you're driving, in a restroom setting, somewhere where as soon as someone walks into an area where you just finished reapplying your fragrances, it won't get all on them. That's a bit of selfishness when you choose to reapply your fragrances in an open setting where everybody around you has to be affected by that. And it's okay if others don't like the scent that you're wearing or when it first comes out of the gate. Not that it smells bad. It's just that you all know that the molecules and chemicals in fragrances, especially if it's an inexpensive fragrance, have a lot of chemicals in them and a lot of alcohol in them and a lot of weird stuff that's in them that pops out of that nozzle when it first happens. And until that fragrance kind of settles down and either marries with your body or the clothing and garments that you sprayed them on, it smells really, really rancid a lot of times. And that goes for any fragrance. I have some fragrances, like I said, that are extremely expensive that I would never actually spray out in public initially, because most people would go, this ain't gonna work, I'm sick, I gotta go. And so you want to be really, really careful with that, because again, you have people that can get sick from your fragrances. So you always want to use proper etiquette when applying your fragrances in public, in an office or a business setting, and make sure you do it where it's in a closed off area where only you are in that area. Only you are going to be entering and exiting that area. It normally takes about 10 to 15 minutes before a fragrance simmers down where you can no longer smell it or walk into a fragrance cloud of someone else's and get that smell all over you. So that is something that I wanted to share with you guys, because you have people who like to reapply, and like I said, I have some really, really beautiful fragrances that I've had to reapply before out on special events and things like that, but I always step away. I either step outside or step in a restroom in an enclosed area so that I'm not affecting everyone around me, and also allowing my fragrance to calm down a little bit before I go back around other people, because you will make people sick if you don't use proper etiquette when applying your fragrances. All right, next on the list, this fragrance is a total cold weather performer. And this is a spring and summer fragrance. But when I tell you guys that I wore this on a bitterly cold day, we've had several of those lately. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not gonna go there today. But it's cold outside where I live, all right? And I'm trying to deal with it. You see what I got on, and I'm in the house. This is ridiculous. Okay, but the next fragrance I want to share with you guys is again a summertime fragrance. But when I tell you this fragrance performs beautifully in cold weather, get you some. This one is Jimmy Choo, and I believe this one is Jimmy Choo Floral. And I'll bring this in a little closer, just to share with you how many times I've used this. I've probably used this like 3 times, and look how much juice is gone. It is that good. This is some beautiful. When I first got this, I got it for a really, really good deal. I think I grabbed this from either, and I'm being honest, I grabbed this from either TJ Maxx or Marshalls. I was in there knocking around one day, probably looking for some underwear and t-shirts and socks for my son, because normally that's where I go to. And because they always have really good underwear for guys for really, really good prices, you guys, they really do. And so, I always stop by the perfume area to see what they've got, because I love designer fragrances. And every now and then, if you're in a really good TJ Maxx or Marshalls, they will have niche fragrances. I've gotten a couple out of there. And so when I saw this, I had never smelled this, but I love Jimmy Choo fragrances. And I figured, what was it gonna hurt to grab it? And when I tell you this was a good deal, it looked like, the packaging looked like, and I'm gonna be honest, somebody had bought it and decided they didn't want it and brought it back. I did check it to make sure it hadn't been used and all that good stuff, and no one had ever sprayed out on it. I can always tell if a fragrance has been sprayed out on. I don't know why I can, but I can tell. And so it hadn't been sprayed out on. The packaging hadn't been tampered. Everything is sealed. All the lettering is still there. No wording is faded. The bottle's not cracked, chipped, or anything. Perfect piece of offering from Jimmy Choo. So anyway, I got this. It was discounted, like really, really low, y'all. And I'm talking about to the point where I grabbed that box and threw it in my bag. I was like, I know I'm not in here to buy no perfume today, but she's got to have it. So when I brought this one home, it didn't really do anything for me. I was like, oh, it's cool. What it reminded me of was Forever by Alfred Sun. That's one of my all-time favorite springtime and summer fragrances. It's one of the first fragrances as an adult young woman that I had. You know what I mean? I love Alfred Sun fragrances, and that's what this kind of gave me the vibe of. It's a little bit sweeter than that fragrance if you're familiar with that particular scent. And it lasts so much longer. It's so much more powerful. This is gorgeous. So if you like wearing this or fragrances like this in the warmer weather, these types of fragrances don't work for me in hot weather, like I told you guys before. So I wear things like this in the winter time. When I tell you this fragrance is beast mode, mama girl, so sexy, so sensuous, it's just absolutely gorgeous, you guys. I can't tell enough about this fragrance. Like, you're gonna hear me talk a lot more about this. This performed for me from beginning to end. When I got home from work, I could still smell this on me. It still smelled really, really beautiful. It does those peekaboo appearances, which I love about a fragrance. It'll disappear and then all of a sudden it'll go, and then it'll disappear and then it'll come back. It's just beautiful. This is what I call a perfect timing fragrance. Jimmy Choo Floral by Jimmy Choo for women. Of course, anyone who wants to wear this fragrance absolutely can. It's main, of course, or it's floral. It has citrus. It's sweet. It's really, really sweet, you guys, but it's not overly sweet. And the sweetness for me didn't pop up until I had this thing on for like 6 hours. And all of a sudden I said, what? You got to be kidding. You gotta be kidding. I need another bottle, y'all. It's fruity and it also has musk in it. So it has a little bit of that animalic component to it, which I always works well for me and my body chemistry. When it comes to fragrances and oils, I love animalic, aldehydic, balsamic fragrances. They always hit the spot for my body chemistry. Again, if you don't have Jimmy Choo Floral in your collection, perfect cold weather performer. You know what I always say when I have a fragrance in my collection that I don't mind sharing with you guys? Get you some Jimmy Choo Floral. Oh yeah, it's starting to heat up over here a little bit. It's starting to heat up a little bit. I'm feeling it. So the next two fragrances, we're going to kind of smoosh them together for the sake of recording time, because, you know, I can talk for ever and ever and ever. And I have like 3, 4, or 5 more fragrances on the list that maybe 4 I want to share with you guys. And then our last etiquette tip for fragrance application. All right, so these 2 I wanted to come on and share with you guys that I have worn since it's been cold outside and have given me beautiful performance. This is another fragrance that's been in my collection for at least a couple years, at least maybe 3 or 4 years. This fragrance, you guys, is amazing. If you like a Shepra fragrance, this is gorgeous. This is a fragrance from Baddie Girl, Rihanna. You guys know by now. If you don't know, and this is your first time ever meeting me, I love Rihanna's fragrances from Fenty on down. Every fragrance that I have of hers is gorgeous, you guys. Absolutely gorgeous. This one has to be, if not the favorite of mine, one of them. There's another one too that I love, and I like to combine them together. This is Rogue by Rihanna. This also comes, it has a flanker called Rogue Love, which is good. And then there's a men version of this. This is a female fragrance, but men and women can wear this one. And I also like the men version of this. This bad girl right here, I'm telling you right now, if you love that Shepra floral type of fragrance with a little bit of a toughness in the notes, I believe this has a little bit of a leather note in it. I don't know if you're familiar with, you know, leather and suede notes in your fragrances, but in cold weather, perfect performers. This normally would be like a springtime, summertime, maybe a fall fragrance. Most people will wear this in, but I wear this in cold weather. And when I tell you, this is another one that I really didn't touch all that much. But the last time I wore this, I try my fragrances out in every season, because you don't know how they're going to perform until you try them in every season. Cold weather friend. This is absolutely amazing in the cold weather. If you got on a sweater or really bundled up really beautifully and you've layered your fragrance properly, baby, when you take that coat off and unwrap yourself, you are in for a treat, and whoever is with you is in for a treat. Your significant other, or if it's just somebody in passing, just so gorgeous. It's really, really sensuous. So be careful with this. It doesn't smell like it. This is some I would go out on a limb to say this is the best fragrance that she has. This is good, y'all. I mean, and I am just, it's been sitting and sitting and sitting and sitting. I promise you. I'll play around with it a little bit and be like, I'm good. Or I might spray a little bit on me, like on my way to bed or something like that. Or if I'm getting ready to go for a walk or something, I might, just to spray something on. Never thought much about it. But I actually layered up with this fragrance and wore this fragrance. This fragrance lasts all day long. Smells absolutely amazing. Super, super sexy. I'm not going to keep going on and on about this. Get you some. The next one I want to share with you guys is a fragrance that I talk a lot about, and I'll never stop talking about it, so you can just forget about it. It is Christian Dior's Hypnotic Poison. They said, color me. What you been spraying, girl? Let me tell you. This fragrance right here, you guys. When I tell you, you don't need no cornbread with your greens when you wear this. Gucci Guilty Absolute. This fragrance is another one that I need another bottle of. I just want to take a whole bottle of this and just spray my whole everything down with this one day. Just one day. Just spray everything down with it, y'all. This is gorgeous. And I've shared with you guys, I have several Gucci fragrances in my collection that I've just, acquired through the years. I love Gucci fragrances, and I try not so much brag, but come on and talk about fragrances that, they're just endearing to me. It's, you know what I mean? And I try to talk about fragrances that are more so, that do the same, but cost a little bit less. But when I tell you that this one, I could not resist. There's another one I come on to talk about a lot too. One day we'll do a whole Gucci thing. We'll do a whole Gucci collection. I've been holding on to them for a while. But this one right here, you guys, I'm going to be talking about this one for a very long time. This is probably going to go in my Hall of Fame collection of fragrances. I'm laughing because I want to say the cuss word. This smell good. Oh my God. This is I cannot explain to you guys what this does for me. So that's why you got to broaden your horizons and expand yourself. And this is not even one of the most expensive fragrances that you can find, but it's in the middle. Right? It's a starting point. I can't, I might start crying. It does something for me, that I can't explain. And if you collect fragrances and you like perfume and you're a nostalgic type of a person, you have good memories, or you try to create good memories, then this will help you. This will help you understand. If you don't understand, I get it. But most people that watch my videos understand. That's why you watch them, right? This is not a fragrance for the trolls. Gucci. Gucci Guilty Absolute Perfume Gucci for women. Anybody who wants to wear this fragrance absolutely can. But gentlemen, before you grab this one because you love more of a fragrance that has a little bit more of a feminine touch, check out the men's version of this because it smells just as good, if not better. And then compare the two and then take your purchase. You may buy both of them and wear them together. When I first smelled this, I sprayed both of these together because I always do that when it's Gucci, Christian Dior, and sometimes I do Armani fragrances like that and MFK fragrances. I always kind of spray like 2 or 3 of them together because normally they smell good layered together and separately. And so I would smell both of these before purchasing. You may end up buying both. You know what I'm saying? At the time when I got this, if I was in a relationship, I probably would have bought both. They're that good, you guys. I'm telling you. And every now and then I would sneak myself a spray. Again, this is Gucci Guilty Absolute. The main, of course, of this fragrance is woody. It's fruity. It has rose, of course. You know it's got rose in it if I love it. The woodiness it doesn't mention oud, you guys, but it's got just a little bit of oud in there, just enough to make it last forever. It's aromatic, which I love an aromatic fragrance. It has patchouli in it. I love a good patchouli, smooth, sexy, seductive. It's sweet and it's fresh spicy. And it's fresh spicy, but it's not overly spicy. Like some fresh spices or warm spices, you can taste them when you spray them or you talk. And that's not what this is. Gucci did a darn good job on this one. It is like butter. I love this fragrance. Yes, I'm excited about it. You will hear me talk a lot about this fragrance, you guys. If you don't have this one in your collection, do yourself a favor, treat yourself. When you're all done buying Christmas gifts for everybody else or while you're out shopping for others, if you run across a bottle of this, get it. All right, you guys, we only have a few more to go. Like I said, I try to condense these down to the ones that I've been wearing lately because it just got cold outside, and I'm trying to do these as my memory remember, because after a week or so you don't remember what you've worn and how well it performed. The only thing I remember is if I wear something and it didn't work too good for me, or if I combine 2 or 3 fragrances together and something about those 3 fragrances just didn't hit the right spot, then I remember that. So the next fragrance I want to share with you guys is an old school fragrance. You guys well know that I love Elizabeth Taylor fragrances. If I don't have all of them, I will one day. Every Elizabeth Taylor fragrance that I have, I love, period. Call it what you want, say what you want to say. I don't care. They smell absolutely amazing. They are extremely affordable. Get you some. This fragrance is absolutely gorgeous. Okay? And I remember this fragrance from way back in the day. And I can't remember how I added this to my collection, but it was extremely affordable. I could not resist adding this one. And so I did, and I love it. I used to love Black Pearls more than anything in the whole wide world. That was one of the sweetest, long-lasting fragrances ever. And it smelled really, really good on me. This one is it. And I know for all of you White Diamonds lovers, I know, I get it. I like all the White Diamonds and all the White Diamonds flankers. Yes, I like the old lady, Beast Mode, Mama Girl, auntie fragrances, auntie vibes, whatever y'all call that crap. Anyway, Passion by Elizabeth Taylor. This is beautiful, you guys. It is. I'm sorry. This is it. I'm telling you, trust me when I tell you that this smells so good. And it smells kind of old lady-ish from the bottle. This is just something magical about this fragrance. This smell like old money, new money, good money. Oh my God. This is like what I imagine Diane Carroll smelled like. Y'all remember Diane Carroll when she was on Dynasty? She took the world by storm, baby. Don't play with her. That's what this smells like to me. It is so gorgeous, you guys. I'm going to share just a little bit about this fragrance so that if you're not familiar with it, you will know by now. Again, this is Passion by Elizabeth Taylor. Let me fix my hat. If it falls off, you're going to see some stocking cap action. Passion by Elizabeth Taylor for women. The main, of course, of this fragrance is woody. It's powdery, which I love. It's animalic, which I love, an animalic fragrance. It's warm, spicy, but it's not overly spicy. It has a musk component to it, so that's your animalic. It's got your white floral. It has amber in it. It's a little bit smoky. It's earthy. This is good, you guys. It's so pretty. I want to say that it's a little bit metallic as well, but it doesn't list that. But I love a metallic-y fragrance as well. And that's it smells like it's got a little bit of metallics in it. If you get an opportunity to add this to your collection, I highly recommend adding it. If you don't wear it by itself, it makes a beautiful layering component with the original Poison by Christian Dior. It smells absolutely amazing with Cloud or Cloud Intense by Ariana Grande. If you have any beautiful creamy vanilla, or if you have any beautiful creamy body creams that have just a little bit of a lemon citrus, like creamy custard scent to them, or something that has a little bit of a grape note in it, this works so beautiful with this, guys. If you like an aldehydic animalic fragrance that dries down a little bit pouty, a little bit woody, that lasts 24 hours, get you some. Beautiful fragrance, you guys. Okay, so etiquette tip number 3. Never spray your fragrance, perfume, body mist in a closed off area. Okay, closed off elevator, a car where there's a bunch of people in it, an office space where there are no windows. You have to have ventilation when you're spraying fragrances. Fragrance is perfume and fragrances and body mist are flammable. And so if you're using something that has a whole lot of alcohol content in it, you guys, and a lot of synthetic-y notes, it can really make someone sick. So you have to be really careful with that. You have people with autoimmune deficiency diseases that bad fragrances or fragrances with a lot of synthetic notes. You'll find synthetic notes in a lot of inexpensive fragrances. You'll find them in air fresheners. They can kind of set people off. Body mists, perfumes. There are perfumes that have synthetic notes in them, meaning that a lot of times there's a little bit cheaper quality notes and components in that make up that fragrance, which is nothing wrong with that, because even high-end fragrances have some synthetic notes in them. Especially when it comes to like your musk note and your animalic notes and things of that nature. But we have to be really careful with that. People that take different treatments, like chemotherapy, dialysis, people who take certain medications and again have different autoimmune deficiencies. Those notes in the fragrances can really make people sick, you guys, to the point where they can be hospitalized. So those are etiquettes, not so much to sneeze on anybody, but to share information and educate you on how, when, and where to apply your fragrances. Because remember, your fragrance is for you, not for everybody else. And if someone happens to be able to smell and enjoy your fragrance with you, that's an added plus. But everybody around you is not supposed to take on your fragrance scent. That is a personal thing, right? Always remember, less is more. The better quality fragrance you use, the less you'll run into issues like that. But those 3 etiquette tips I wanted to come on and share, because I've been at dinner before where somebody, after we've eaten and sprayed their perfume on to freshen themselves up. I get the gist of that, because nobody wants to smell like food, but that's supposed to be done either in the restroom or outside, and things of that nature. And 2, reapplying your fragrances, that's what bathrooms are for, and that's what we step outside to do if you need to do those things. And all of us have to refreshen up every now and then. That's nothing, but those things are supposed to be done in areas where it won't affect other people. All right, so it's really, really good. Now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, I think I've got 2 more fragrances that I wanted to share with you guys. I have so many. I pulled so many of them, but I have 2 that I know for sure that I want to share with you guys. This one, I can't remember. Okay, so I remember about this one. I met a young lady. I was just out browsing one day, and I was in either a TJ Maxx or a Marshalls, and I actually wasn't looking at fragrances. I was in the aisle where you find cake dishes and glasses and mugs, and I was just browsing around, and I met a young lady whose husband is a distributor for fragrances like Estee Lauder and Clinique and things of that nature. And she has fragrances because every year they have an opportunity as employees to like grab fragrances that haven't been sold. You know, as employees, you get perks for certain companies. But she can't wear fragrances. And we were talking about fragrances, and I was telling her that I collect them. You know what I mean? Just out of the blue. And she goes, I have so many Estee Lauder fragrances, she said, and I can't wear any of them. And I was telling her how much I love Estee Lauder, and that when I was younger, I used to work in the cosmetic department for Famous and Bar, which is now Macy's in our town, and then also Dillard's and also Neiman Marcus for a short period of time. And I was telling her how much I love Estee Lauder, and she goes in back. She was like, "Hold it, before you go, wait a minute, I want to go grab something for you." And she brought this out of the back for me. This is Modern Muse Le Rouge. She said, I don't know why I carry this in my purse. It was full, brand new when she gave it to me. She said, I don't know why I carry this around in my purse. She said, because I cannot wear perfume. She's allergic to like so much stuff. So she can't wear fragrance at all. She said, and when you said Estee Lauder and you love Estee Lauder fragrances, she said, I don't know if you have this one already or not. She said, but I want to give this to you. She said, because I don't wear it. She said, now what's the coincidence that we met each other and we started chatting about perfume and all this good stuff, and you collect them. So even if you have this one already, I want to give this to you. And so that's how this ended up in my collection. Funny thing about this is, like 2 years after that, I was working for a company, and one of the guests that came into the salon that I was working in, we were talking, and she said she liked the fragrance that I was wearing, and I told her it was an Estee Lauder fragrance, and actually it was a sample that I found of Pleasures from way back in the day, and I just threw it on that day, right? She said, girl, I love Estee Lauder. She said, I have an Estee Lauder fragrance that I can't wear. She said, I got it for Christmas. She said, and I'm going to bring it back to you. And it's a flanker of this one. And both of them smell absolutely amazing. But this girl right here, if you want something that lasts all day long, sexy, sensuous, seductive, date night, beast mode, mama girl, people are going to ask you what you're wearing when you have this on. This is Modern Muse Le Rouge by Estee Lauder. See that? Can you see that? I've used quite a bit. I try to watch it. Now, the one that the young lady brought back to me is almost gone, y'all. It smells so delicious. And I'm going to come on and share that one a little bit later on. But this is such a good fragrance. I'm going to put some of this on. It's so good. It's ridiculous. And like, this is one of those fragrances that lasts all day long on you. But it smells so good that you can't help but to just keep spraying yourself. You have to really watch it. I really would love to have a big bottle of this. It's so pretty. It is absolutely ridiculous, you guys. So if you don't have this one, add this to your collection. Add everything Estee Lauder. Any fragrance from Estee Lauder, just get it. Even you do. Get that too. Then last on the list, I think, I don't know, we may come back on and do a part 3. It's necessary. This fragrance, you guys already know, I love Swiss Arabian fragrances. This is some good juice right here. You can't see how much is left in here, but it's not that much. Oh my God. This is so good, you guys. So beautiful. What is this? Shagaf Oud. It's so good. Caramel, mocha, oud, sexy, lasts all day. It's just ridiculously good, to the point where this was missing off of my fragrance shelf for a while. I don't know who had it, but it found its way back. I don't know. It's only 2 of us here. It's my son and myself, so I don't know. And he has his own stuff, so I don't know what happens. It just magically disappeared and reappeared. I don't know what happened. This is so delicious, you guys. So if you don't have this one and you love oud, get you some. Those are all of the ones that I wanted to come on and share with you guys today. Those are beautiful, perfect cold weather performers. I'm so glad that I was able to come on and talk about those. If you wonder what I was searching around for, I had one more I wanted to share with you guys. This was an iffy that I added to my collection. I got a list of fragrances I was able to add to my collection not too long ago, and this was one of them. But when I tell you this fragrance is dynamite, that's what I was looking for. You say, girl, what is it? One more. This one is Ariana Grande Cloud Intense, you guys. This is some good juice right here. Yep. So if you don't have this one in your collection and you wonder, did we really need this? Yes, we did. Get you some. This is your girl, Color Me Bad Lynn, saying thank you guys for watching. We greatly appreciate all of your love and your support. We hope to meet you over on Instagram. I don't answer too many DMs, but I would love to meet your acquaintance over on Instagram. My tag for Instagram is @colormebad_Lynn. My tag for YouTube is @colormebadlynn, all one word. See you on the next video.